Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fandom Post Radio. Glad you could all join us again. As always, I am your co-host of sorts, Cain, and with us tonight we have DJ.
Hello.
We have Kestrel.
Yo.
And we have a couple special guests with us to talk about the season and some convention stuff that happened recently. First off, always welcome is Darius.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. And then we also have Bran.
Hello, hello.
Awesome. So, as always, thank everyone for joining us. I know it can be difficult to schedule a time for us to record and get everyone in the same room. It can be like herding cats. But we're here, so why don't we talk about some news, some convention stuff, and the season. So, Kestrel, what do you have on the news reel?
Yeah, so first thing I have is pre-AnimeNYC, which is the convention in question. This was announced with the Japanese theatrical release of the That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime movie, which we got a little taste of at an event at the convention a few weeks later. But what was announced in Japan was that we will be getting a third season of the TV series. The movie is more like a typical anime movie where it's kind of a side story, not based on the source material. So it's not really important to watch. So we will be getting a continuation of the main story.
Is this something that's like a big deal in that like a sub-community, so to speak?
I mean, it's just a new season of a big show. So just worth
More
mentioning.
content.
Yep.
More content for the machine.
It must be fed.
Indeed. All right, how about what's next?
Yeah, then we get into some announcements from AnimeNYC. And most of the announcements for North American releases at this convention was from Anime Limited, which is not a North American company. It is a company based in the UK and Ireland. And it has recently started doing the occasional North American release here and there, but they are going full in now. So they announced actually quite a few vinyls that they'll be releasing worldwide.
Ooh.
So they've got the ReZero soundtrack on vinyl, the Dr. Stone soundtrack on vinyl. Here's a Cain pick for you, the Little Witch Academia soundtrack on vinyl.
That's good.
Yeah. They are doing an Ultimate Edition vinyl of Macross Plus, which includes the first soundtrack, the second soundtrack, the original soundtrack Plus, which is labeled for fans only, and then Sharon Apple, the Cream PUF.
Cream Puff, yes.
Yeah. So that is all going to be in that Ultimate Edition vinyl release. And then they are also doing a bunch of collector's edition Blu-ray releases for, I think they're all Crunchyroll licenses that Crunchyroll has not released through, their current iteration of formerly Funimation or any other North American partnerships. So those include collector's edition Blu-ray releases of To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, Tonikawa, Tokyo Marble Chocolate, and A Place Further Than the Universe. And it was previously announced that they will be doing an Ultimate Edition Blu-ray of the Macross Plus anime series. So I think all of that is scheduled to come in 2023.
Yep.
The last two are pretty dope. I cannot say I've heard of any of the shows in that Blu-ray collection before that, so hopefully they have fans and they sell, because
Yeah.
physical media is always a tough sell, especially anime, because it can be expensive over here. And I'm sure those vinyls are going to be just completely affordable.
Especially the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah,
Is the
I'm sure that's
international
going to be
shipping,
like
though?
$100.
Probably.
What'd you say, Brad?
I was gonna say with international shipping, if they're coming from the UK, could push it
Well,
over
these
the
are
limit.
specifically North American releases they're doing, though, so they're going to have them pressed
okay.
here somewhere.
Yeah, they've
That's
done
cool.
they've done a few North American releases here, so here and there. So, but yeah, this is
Yeah.
probably their biggest high-profile work so far.
Yeah, and like
Nice.
all the like I have all the collector's edition Attack on Titan vinyl releases.
Yeah.
Those are all from them as well, and they're all sold on like Right Stuff, so it's normal shipping. And yeah, they did the Beastars vinyl. They did the Be the Beginning Blu-ray set, so that was I think their first North American release. And then they've also done like a lot of the original versions of G Kids collector's editions. So like a lot of the G Kids collector's editions you see the past few years, like Promare and Weathering with You, they're literally just the all the anime or anime limited release, just with the region coding changed and the logos changed. For the Evangelion Ultimate Edition, I might have mentioned this recently. They didn't even change that shit. You pop in those discs and you just get all the anime logo up front. You don't even see a G Kids logo.
Oh, you're right. They did also one of the Berserk vinyl variants that they repressed recently. I actually have that one too.
Nice. Yeah, they've always been like the company for UK for the past like I don't know how long they've been going, 5-10 years. They've been doing really great, and then in the past few years, yeah, they've been making major moves into North America as well for vinyl and now Blu-ray. So super cool to see.
Yeah, those vinyls always look really nice. Like I haven't purchased any of them just because they're a little bit too much for my frugal-minded spending habits. But I mean the artwork and then the pattern colors they choose for the discs themselves, the records themselves is always really cool. It isn't like you're just buying a flat, one LP in black with the same album art as whatever the Blu-ray is. Like they do put a lot of really good work into it. You just have to have the scratch to pay for it.
Yeah, especially those collector's editions. Like each of those Attack on Titan ones were like 120, 130.
Yeah, those have been sitting in my wish list for a very long time.
Yeah, fun. But speaking of G Kids, they did announce something of their own at AnimeNYC. And that is the anime film Giovanni's Island, which they will be releasing. The Blu-ray was just put up on all the sites yesterday. So that is coming in February of next year, which will be almost exactly 9 years since its original release. So, DJ, tell us why we should care.
This is my favorite movie ever. And
nice.
It fucking destroyed me. And it's just like up until actually still, I know no one else who has watched it. And I've been trying to get people to watch it forever, but there's just no way to do that because it never got a physical release. And like, those Malaysian bootlegs, that is literally the only way that you can get your hands on Giovanni's Island. And
I think it was on Netflix briefly because I thought I watched it on Netflix.
Think that is true.
So what's it about?
If that is, I didn't know about it.
I've definitely seen that movie, but
it is so good, and it's so moving and impactful. And I'm excited for people to be able to watch it because that means that I will have at least one person to probably talk about it to. So I'm gonna buy like 5.
Nice.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that reminds me of how like the 2 cycling movies, Nasu, are only available in like bootleg Malaysian DVDs. And they're also really good. Not as soul crushing, obviously, as Giovanni's Island, apparently, but still cool and never had a release over here, so you have to buy the sketch eBay listings.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's good. It's good to see more stuff like that get releases over here because that's the movies and stuff I've found I gravitate more to or towards in recent history than shows. So more movies for me to buy and watch is always a good thing.
Yeah, I think I was definitely wrong about it being on Netflix. I think I confused it with something else.
Possibly, yeah. Becca watched it with me, and she compared it to Grave of the Fireflies, and I know that
Oh, damn.
you guys have probably seen that, and that it has probably hurt you. So it's another movie like that.
Yeah, that's definitely the comparison I always hear.
Okay, that's okay.
I don't know. It's only got a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I don't know about all this hubbub.
Have you watched Grave of the Fireflies yet, DJ?
I have not.
How is this your favorite movie, and your wife compares it to this classic anime movie, and you've never watched that?
I think it's because of that I haven't watched it yet, where there's already like something that's like so important to me on a personal level, where it's just like I don't want to like impact that experience at all.
And I can see if you're this invested in this similar movie already, you could probably, not really give it a fair shake, even subconsciously, because of that, just comparing it.
Probably.
It's also incredibly
that's the thing that
intimidating.
I'm worried about. But I mean, I did recently rewatch Spirited Away, and I really like that movie. So it's like the one Ghibli movie I've seen that I could wholeheartedly endorse. So maybe I will check out Grave of the Fireflies soon.
Oh boy.
It isn't really like a sit down, make some popcorn, enjoy a movie type of thing. So I get
guys all know DJ, right? Like this is you don't need to warn him. That's the shit he lives for.
Hurt me.
Yeah, DJ probably is it's weird to say it, but Grave of the Fireflies target demographic.
Masochist?
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people don't watch it, though, is also every time anybody talks about it, it's always just about how sad and, crushing it is. And a lot of people get intimidated by that. It has like the weird narrative going against it where people don't talk about like how beautiful of a movie it is and how resonant it is with the human spirit and the struggle and strife. It's really sad and depressing. You're gonna cry. It's so sad. And it's like, yeah, you're not really setting it up very well. You're making it intimidating to watch.
That's exactly what I want to hear when something is pitched to me.
And remember, it was released the same day that My Neighbor Totoro was.
Yeah, it's a double feature.
Yep, Takahata did one, and Miyazaki did the other. And
you got to balance out that emotion.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next piece of news. Speaking of sad things, we got our obligatory "someone died" story. So this is voice actor Grant James. He was voice actor at Funimation for decades. He was 87. He was one of the standard old man voices you would go to. Had a really great distinctive voice. He's known as Zeph in One Piece. He was Scar's master in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. He was Mujika in Mushishi. And he had, bit parts in all of their big franchises, basically. So he was married to Julie Erickson, who was, another longtime Funimation's old lady voice, and they were married for 36 years.
Wow.
So very sad to see him go. I think he had maybe kind of retired in the past few years, but yeah, definitely sad.
Indeed.
And the last piece of news I have, so this is a weird piece of news. These are always weird, because Disney keeps getting more into anime, but specifically not in the US. So there have been Disney Plus exclusives over the past few seasons, past year, in Japan and in some other regions, and not in the US. So what happens is they stream in Japan, maybe other places, and then what we've finally seen in the US after months of waiting and no indication is that we get everything dropped at once with no announcement on Hulu, which is, of course, mostly owned by Disney. And nobody really knows why that is. For some reason, Disney wants to get more into anime, but doesn't want that as part of their profile in the US specifically. So anyway, the news is that they are expanding this initiative in a major way in at least Japan and probably everywhere but the US. And they're partnering with Kodansha for a bunch of exclusives and Disney original anime. I'm sure will be branded as. So this includes the next arc of Tokyo Revengers. So you won't be seeing that on Crunchyroll.
No.
Yep.
I didn't know that. That sucks.
And there's a new Phoenix anime based on the Phoenix manga by Tezuka.
Yeah.
That's going to be included in there. There's a new original anime by the director of Jujutsu Kaisen. Those are the three that really stuck out to me, but they got a whole list of new stuff. So they're basically doing like the Netflix thing, but with that weird wrinkle that they don't want it to be a thing in the US for some reason. So maybe we'll get it after 6 months on Hulu.
Phoenix anime looks beautiful. Studio 4C is doing that one. It looks really nice. And I'm a longtime fan of Tezuka's Phoenix anime and manga, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what these guys bring. But I hope I actually get to see it intact, because like you said, some of these releases have been very strange. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's so sad that the Sunghoo Park project is going to be designated to that, because I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they already burned you with the Tatami Galaxy sequel, so they're
It's
just
true.
after you.
There are other means.
Techno Brand's watch list.
Yeah,
They really are. I gotta go incognito mode.
I did watch all of that when it dropped on Hulu. It was 6 episodes, 7 episodes. The Tatami Time Machine Blues. And they did the same with the new BlackRock shooter not too long before that. Still no word on summertime rendering, I don't think. But that will hopefully be coming before too long on Hulu.
Damn.
It follows the trend.
Excited for that.
Yeah. Another thing kind of adjacent to this that I forgot to put on here is related to another story that I talked about a few weeks ago. We are finally actually getting Monster on Netflix in the US, so it's going to come January 1st.
January, yes.
Oh, I can finally watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a bitch to actually get a chance to watch that whole thing intact. You usually had minuscule releases or half releases. I am one of people very, very much happy to see this thriller finally released in its entirety here.
Yeah, I think the last time you could watch it all legally with US releases was maybe 2010. Viz had the whole dub on Hulu. And you could import the Australian release that came out on DVD a few years later to get the whole series, but Viz only released the first 15 episodes on DVD, and for a while after the whole series was on Hulu, they had those same 15 episodes, and then for the past many years, just 0% of it has been available in any way. So yeah, very excited to see that happen, and hopefully, kind of like what happened with Ava, that will finally open the gate and, make it so that a home video company can license it and put it all out.
I'll be honest, I did not believe this news when it came out, because I see so many posts go viral on Twitter that are fake announcements, like Berserk 97's finally on Netflix, or Nana is on Netflix now, and I'm like, are you really? And then I check and it's not. But
well, those are all part of the same NTV agreement. So they've been slowly trickling out. Monster and one or two others are coming on January 1st. I think a few of them that they announced are still unconfirmed in terms of when they are coming. They were all initially announced without regions specified, so it wasn't. We weren't sure if we were getting Monster or Berserk in the US. Right now, Monster does have a placeholder for US streaming for January 1st, so hopefully that won't change.
Sweet.
But I don't think Berserk has a set date yet, but they are all supposed to happen eventually, hopefully all in the US.
Okay, the dream is alive.
Yeah, very dope. Man, I remember when Hulu used to be like a bastion of weird, obscure-ish anime. Like saying that it was on Hulu, like brought back some memories of having Hulu and being like they had all this old shit on there. And I wonder if that was just because it was easy to get at that point. They didn't have to pay a whole lot while still saying we had anime.
Yeah, it was definitely like an early adopter in streaming and including for like in the early few years of simulcast. There is a decent amount that went to Hulu before like everyone really got into the game. And it had been like a major hub for almost every company to dump a bunch of their content onto. But that's kind of been less in recent years. But yeah, now they have major competitors like Netflix grabbing stuff up. So it makes sense that there's not that many exclusives there anymore. They don't care that much.
Yeah, I want to say for a long time it was the only way you could legally watch like Trigun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
As well, I believe.
Or the only functional way because Funimation's player was always historically so bad.
Oh, jeez, don't remind me.
Anyway, that is all the news I have. Darius, if you want to talk about AnimeNYC in general, any more beyond that, you can.
Yeah, you and I, excuse me, please. Yeah, you and I both got to walk around, see different panels and stuff. Let's see. Let's see. What did I get to see? Walked around. Oh, just to start though, the general look of the convention, in terms of how they were getting people in, seemed to work a lot more smoothly this year. It used to be. I mean, last year. And even it was so bad, even NYC itself admitted, guys, we messed up. We're sorry. We're going to make this a much easier, better experience for you. And this year, it was done differently. They set up different entrance points and literally put general attendees like across the street in this one area that seemed to be like for construction practically. I'm not sure, but you had to go through that to get to your COVID wristband, and then walk around to an area, and then they would guide you to an entry area for general walk-ins and such. This was sold out before the convention took place. Kestrel and I, we were in a press entrance, so it was a little easier for us to go see those things. But the convention itself seemed to work a bit better. The thing is, though, they did this whole thing with pre-reservations for panels, for big name panels and such. And in some ways, it was okay to see because, like, excuse me, please, they the gigantic lines that were there for last year were gone. And you could actually navigate a bit better. Like, for example, if you tried to get into the One Piece episode last year, like the line was a mile long, and everybody trying to get in, and you basically had no hope. This year they did this whole lottery system, which worked out well for some and not so well for other people. And it was okay. Kestrel and I, we each got into different panels, screenings, and stuff. Like Kestrel, I believe you did Lupin.
Yep.
How was that one?
Well, the screening was very bad. It was the world premiere of Lupin Zero, and they shoved it in this tiny little panel room. Very tiny width-wise, and it went a few rows back, but it was like, I don't know, 5-10 people per row. Like, it was a tiny room. And they set up this little like projector, like your showing a PowerPoint for your high school final.
Oh man.
And they had a shitty little screen that they pulled down, and the projection covered like a quarter of it in the corner. And even that, like, because of the setup of the room and it not being meant for viewing anything, if you were more than a few people back, the bottom of the screen, which included the subtitles, was covered up by the people in front of you. So it was super low quality, super bad presentation, almost impossible to actually discern what was going on. So not great. I guess
I'm sorry.
On a Trigun.
If only you understood Japanese to DJ's level.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh
Very
man.
high.
Yeah, the Trigun screening. I guess I lucked out on that one. It was pretty cool. The animators were there. They showed they followed the first full episode, and I know a lot of people have been kind of scoffing at the fact that Orange and the studios Orange went with the CG route instead of the traditional cell animation route. But honestly, I liked it. I think pretty much everybody in the show.
Good.
Yeah, the show is pretty cool. It is definitely different. It starts in a different place. I'm trying to remain a bit spoiler free for you, but if you understand this reference, you'll understand how things start. The characters Vash and Knives are rescued by Rem, and that's how the show starts. And we get to meet Vash in a goofball way. Yeah, I'll let you see how. But I promise you, when it comes to his gun skills, it's funny as hell to watch, but it's also, he's still a badass. I promise that. And they showed a lot of concept art for a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out, and it looked beautiful. And some of the characters, some who were in the previous show, some who were in the newer ones, and they flat out said, like, they consider the Cell animated Trigun series to be like the most perfect thing in the world. And they said there's just no way we could ever top it, so we could let's just make a completely different rendering and telling and everything. So a lot of the favorite characters are there, except one that I've not seen yet. I'm a little disappointed in that part. But for the most part, at least that screening went pretty well. I did enjoy that. The usual suspects as far as announcement people were there. Crunchyroll, Sentai, High Dive rather. Let's see, G Kids. Which ones did I actually make it to? Oh, yeah, there was the big one with the creator of Attack on Titan. Yeah, that I actually did manage to get into that. Thankfully, that was cool. I believe were you there for any of the festivities on that one, Kestrel?
Yeah, the panel. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was really nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that. My heart has just been breaking for Isayama ever since that panel.
Yeah.
The one where he like didn't try not to cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could tell he put his heart and soul into everything. It literally kicked off his career, and he's kind of practically said he doesn't want to do manga anymore, but just because of this. And he really like at one point he actually said that like he was only getting like 2 or 3 hours of sleep a day for like a week. And I'm like, and all I could
Jesus.
Yeah,
that's a mangaka.
Yeah. All I could think of was I feel bad not remembering his name, but the creator of Berserk and what happened with him. And I was like, geez, man. And so he's under pressure to finish it, and as he basically said, I don't want to get canceled. That was literally his sole mindset. I don't want to be canceled. Yeah. I want to be
canceled in the traditional sense, not the modern sense.
Not in the modern sense. Yeah, he's not talking Twitter. He's talking like, hey, I want my book to feed my, be able to feed me and keep me in my apartment, And yeah, listening to him talk about how not only how the story was going to progress, but like how this whole thing practically impacted his life and changed his life, and it's really sad that the guy flat out pretty much said he does not want to do manga anymore.
I mean, I'm glad. Like, I really hope he sticks to it. Because yeah, I don't want to see him work himself to death. I want him to collect his fucking paycheck and get a good night's rest for the rest of his life. Go to his saunas, enjoy himself, recover from the trauma that this series put him through and the serialization of it. But I'm not happy about the reasoning being that he is just deeply damaged and broken from the experience of making the series and the feedback and controversy and abuse that he's taken from it. So yeah, he's a very troubled and humble and sincere guy, and it hurts to see him in this state after everything he's given us.
Yeah,
man. Anime and manga fans are the worst, honestly.
Yeah.
They can be your biggest fan for a decade, and then you write an ending to your story that's not exactly what they want, and half the fan base will heel turn and feed you to the dogs, and it's insane.
So Star Wars fans, gotcha.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's what always worries me about this kind of shit, is that it's like, why would it be worth it to like put your own health at risk to like literally make a story that is going to be your like life's work, and people will just like either disregard it or just say like, oh, it's not as good as this series that I like, or like this or that. And like this happens every time there's like a big new thing happening. Like I fear for Tatsuki Fujimoto's life. Like there's a reason these artists like don't make public appearances, because they're literally afraid that crazy fans will try to kill them because they're not happy.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of felt,
Go ahead.
I kind of felt bad. Well, like I noticed like he kind of wrote a plea to fans before the convention took place, hoping that he wouldn't have any bad confrontations and stuff. I'm like, dang, man,
It's so sad.
Yeah, he's like, please be kind to me. Please be gentle. Contrary to that, though, fortunately, at least his experience here was very positive, because he was like, I've been just, wrecked since making this ending and completely unsure about it and unsure about all my decisions. But then, coming here and, hearing feedback, because like for the signing, I only know one person who did the signing, Mike DJ. He went through the line to each person until he found someone who would trade the autograph for a $500 special edition Switch that he just bought.
Wow.
So he got his autograph. It was all wristband based, so he couldn't actually go in and get it. But he did get like the autograph, and what Isayama was doing for the people who went in there and got autographs, he would do like a sketch of whatever character they wanted on the inside cover. You could only do the manga volume. And so he would do that. So that would take, a little bit of time. So during that time, like, he had his interpreter actually have people converse with him a little bit and give him feedback. So at the panel, which was the next day, he was like, I've been really unsure about everything since ending the series, but all the feedback that I've gotten here has, really reaffirmed being able to actually hear from people in person and see how it touched people has made me a little more confident in myself and able to move on. So that was good, at least.
Yes, it sounds like a nice ending.
Yeah, happy ending. Thank fuck.
But also, he's like, is like Ano. Like, he lets his... And I won't say he lets. He's not someone who's able to just, let all of the use of his work and the reception to it and all the business practices just like, fly past him. It really deeply affects him.
Man.
Yeah. It's rough to see.
Yeah, like he put out this one statistic, like 80% of manga gets canceled before it actually gets to really hit its stride and everything. So he's like, okay, I don't want to be that part of that 80%. I want to eat. And it's like, damn, man. So
Yeah. He talked about like, they asked what was the worst part about making it, and he's like, getting 2 hours of sleep a night. And then they asked what was the best, and normally your public figure appealing to his millions of fans would be like, well, I just love touching all the fans. He's like, the best part about making the series was the money. It's the only good part. I was poor as fuck. I couldn't
honest
eat.
man.
Yep. And also because nobody in my family ever believed me or supported me, so now they get to see that I'm actually
Jeez,
successful.
bro.
I know, I'm so sad.
That's so messed up.
I mean, that's probably honestly the real answer to almost every one of the mangaka is the money. The fan thing is just the coach speak, like at the end of the game, they're just like, I just want to thank God.
Yeah.
And I want to,
It's just so great to hear someone that high profile be able to be that transparent, especially in like Japanese media, because they're very PR oriented.
Oh, man. Let's see, what else? Let's see, went to that one. Let's see, did the Crunchyroll panel. I did one of the Trigger panels. Got to hear from them. I watched them. He basically did like a live drawing at one point, and somebody asked him. It's like one of the members that was behind a segment in Star Wars Visions about these twins. So they're like, hey, is there going to be a new Star Wars Visions thing? Are you going to be part of it? I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But if I could, I swear this is what he really said he wanted to do. I want to do a story about Jar Jar Binks, where basically he's walking around in an Imperial ship, he's cleaning it, and he accidentally gets a bucket on his head. And an equally clumsy stormtrooper walks in, sees him, and proclaims him to be Darth Jar Jar, and he literally drew Jar Jar Binks as a Sith Lord. Right there.
Amazing.
It is the goofiest. And I was like, oh my god, I'd love to see that.
there's definitely room for Goofy in Star Wars, no matter what people will tell you.
Yeah. And that's really what Visions is. It's, use this general lore to just do your thing however you want to do it.
I'll get that picture up a little bit later date, but I loved what he came up with right there. It's like Darth Jar Jar.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were fans at the live drawing just yelling like, please draw Rebecca, please.
He drew one woman. I think it was from
Probably Little Witch.
Oh, it was?
They do a lot of that. I don't know if it was, but every time they do live drawings on Twitch, it's always Little Witch.
Yeah, that or it might have been from Kill la Kill. I might be wrong on this, but
I think that was Kill la Kill though. I think it was a Mako drawing, from what I remember.
Okay.
I like how Bran has absorbed just as much AnimeNYC through Twitter as we have from actually being there.
He saved me a flight ticket.
Hey, it's very cool. Also, okay, this was one that was an interesting screening. TMS has this new show coming out in January. They showed the first episode for it. It's called High Card. And I literally wound up walking up to the rep, TMS's rep there, right after it, and said, "Thank you for making something that's not isekai. I'm sick of isekai." I mean, seriously, like literally every other trailer I watched that weekend either had the word isekai or reincarnation in it. No joke. And it was just,
Sounds about right.
I was like, stop! Something new!
Funny, at
Until it stops
the
selling, don't get your hopes up.
at the slime event, which I mean, I can't complain about isekai when I'm funding it, but slime's like top 2 or 3 isekai all time. So anyway,
yeah,
that's like saying waterboarding is a top 2 or 3 torture method.
But yeah, at the event for that, the announcer at one point accidentally said reincarnated as a sword, which is another isekai anime that they were promoting and having events for at that convention. So it's a understandable slip up, but it really just speaks to how much of this shit is getting pumped out.
Give me my 80s Max back. Give me that. It's 5 minutes. But High Card though, it was really interesting. As near as I can tell, the director, writer, and creator were there, and they basically were there wearing tuxedos and sunglasses. It was kind of cool looking, to be honest. But they directly said that the main inspiration for this series is the movie Kingsman. And basically, for what you could pretty much get here, imagine all the Kingsmen having the incredible luck powers of Longshot and Gambit from the X-Men. Just imagine a whole kind of core of those guys. It's just really lucky, but they get this card that they can basically use to make sure a bullet goes their way, or a card comes up that they like, or it feels like a whole bunch of them having a Green Lantern ring dedicated to being lucky. That's kind of how this whole thing plays out in the first episode, at least. And there are more episodes will be coming sometime in January. It was definitely an interesting change of pace. I'm quite curious about how the show will play out more often, but I kind of enjoyed it.
That's by the creator of Kakigurui, for reference.
Yeah. So those are the big things that I did manage to go see. I don't understand how they set this, but apparently there's some gigantic Guinness record for the most Gundams built at the same time. It's set at the Bandai booth, and I honestly.
Oh yeah, they had what's his name from Mythbusters there.
Adam Savage, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
He was.
I caught a bit of that panel. Online.
Yeah,
That's cool that Adam Savage was there. He's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think he did like
building Gundams. That's your thing.
They did like a video either officially on the Gundam channel or on like his own YouTube page where he built like a real grade or master grade version of the RX-78, and I was like, damn, this makes me feel so good that he's like enjoying this so thoroughly.
I mean, it's definitely right up his alley. He loves building stuff. So
Yeah.
I imagine he probably made it look like fucking perfect too.
But yeah.
Meanwhile, my Gunpla's got like nubs all over the goddamn place and shit because I have wibbly wobbly hands.
Yeah. Someday I'll have the balls to paint my Gunpla, but not today.
What's there? Let's see. Oh, I did my own panel there. Yeah, okay, I might as well try not to.
Plug it away, baby.
I did a panel about black. I call it classic black anime characters 101, focusing on characters that are from the 60s through the 90s. And for those who are sitting there doubting out there, they're like, no, there's no way there aren't that many black characters. Like, look, I have enough I have enough material for 2 panels, okay? And if they let me, I will be doing panel 102 on this subject. You know, these are just different characters that have fallen wayside because of time, or because the companies did not import their titles that they were in, or they just nobody streams them. People always say, hey, what's the big use of physical media? You know, streaming is where it's at. But it's like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that does not get streamed, and they're very, very good pieces of work. And you'll probably have to find them, usually from a discotheque booth or AnimeNYC or something like that. But there are a lot of very good black anime characters that you don't get to see here spoken about. And so I actually had a full room for it. So I was like, wow. Okay, and people came and thanked me, so that actually did feel good, So,
I would go to it.
Thank you.
That sounds way more interesting than the 60,000, incredible anime deaths panel at the very least.
Oh my goodness, I missed that one.
Oh, there's like a zillion of them every single convention. So yours would be at the top of my list because that does sound like something that would be very interesting to learn about.
Groovy, man. Hopefully if we're at the same cons, we'll hook. I'll make sure to pass you the info, man. Excited to get you there.
Fandom PostCon when?
I mean, let's see, like 4 of us were at Otakon last year. That would have been the time.
Oh, we have got
I
to
was
pull
there,
that.
right? I can't remember.
Yes,
I think
you
I
were
was
there.
there. Okay.
You were there, yes.
I wasn't sure if that was last year or like 2 years ago. It all just blurs together at this point.
There were no cons 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, that'll do it then.
It was if I didn't get to see any of you, it was probably last year because I remember I had to stay home. So it probably was last year. This year I actually did get to go to see that. When Otacon's numbers are definitely, but they're back. They definitely. I think they broke 40,000 definitely, and I saw them wrapping around buildings. So yeah, Otacon's pretty much getting back to speed. NYC is getting back to it's getting back to speed.
AnimeNYC. I mean, they only started a few years ago, and they've just been growing every year that they've been on.
Yeah,
like they had to cap badges super early this year because it was way too much last year for them to handle.
I'm hearing
until they get the whole Javits, which they're going to get in 2 years.
Oh, that's 2 years. Okay, I thought they might get it next year.
No, I think it was next year is too early for them to secure it all, but year after.
Okay. I actually hope that I was walking around, I was thinking, what exactly? I was like, okay, the show itself was generally cool, but what is it missing? And I think they probably could use up another panel room or two, but also at least one. This is the longtime con guy in me. At least one dedicated video room somehow, just playing for screenings, And like I said, everybody likes to say everything's on streaming, and I'm like, no, it's not. There's plenty that's really good that will not be streamed, and try to sit with friends and family and hang out and catch something new or old and get a new experience out of it. So I really do. I really wouldn't mind somehow, especially as many connections as they obviously have. Pull some pretty good screenings together. I'd like to see that for them.
What cons do you go to, Bran? ASEN?
Yeah, I've been to ASEN. I think it was like the year before the pandemic. Anime Midwest is also out here, but I unfortunately have not gone to any since my first ASEN appearance in 2019. So I am fiending to get back out on that maybe this summer. Try to go to one or two.
I was also at ASEN 2019.
Oh, really? Damn, we probably walked past each other. Didn't even know.
I thought about that.
Did you go to the like rave thing at the end of the weekend?
No.
That was the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah, normally ASEN, I haven't been there in a while, but they used to have this gigantic rave thing, the soap bubble, I think is the phrase. Basically, Anime Central was pretty much known as the absolute best rave out of all the conventions for a good while. I don't know what's like.
It's just so weird seeing like psychedelic anime visuals with dubstep just going crazy and like everyone dressed up in cosplay, but
yeah, they have those at a lot of conventions. Like they had one at AnimeNYC that some of my friends went to. I did not. I always they had like Teddy Lloyd at this one, and I've been to a few cons where Teddy Lloyd has been DJing at their raves or whatever. And like I always want to go because I love his music, but I hate raves. So like I tried stepping into one at like I don't know, Anime Week in Atlanta or something, the year that I went there, and I lasted like, I don't know, 5 minutes, and like I can't do this. It's not my thing.
How did I miss you?
I did not stick around long.
I saw you there. It was 2018.
Oh wow.
There's a surprisingly large crossover between like rave kids and anime fandom, because I swear every music festival I've been to in the last few years, there's always a group of kids dressed up as like Demon Slayer characters and other stuff. But yeah.
I will try to go through my AnimeNYC thoughts quickly so that we can get to our fall season.
For it.
So yeah, general thoughts on lottery. It's garbage. Not having big lines is neat and all, but the fact that they try to make it so that you can't share them, and so no matter how much you care about a thing or how much you're only going to this convention for a thing, you might just not get it because of RNG, which is so fortunately, at least all of their super hard rules are not very well enforced. So for panels, at least, you just share QR codes around, no big deal. There is a limit to it. Like if everyone wants to go to a thing, they're scanning the QR codes generally, so you probably can't all go in if only one of you won. But you can make it work well enough. We made it work.
Yes, we did.
The autographs, not so much, but also like in future years, if I go, I will keep in mind that like it doesn't really mean that much that it's lottery only, because if it's not like Isayama, they'll just let in general people after the lottery people go through. So there is still a chance to get autographs that you care about, even if you didn't get a wristband, which is much harder to fake. So still hate all of that a lot. Hate them for doing it. Garbage. Shame on you. Convention itself was fine. I did the Final Fantasy concert. Those were always a good time. Lupin Zero premiere I talked about. Very bad premiere. I watched the first, like, I don't know, hour of the Promare, what do they call it? Like cheer screening with the Trigger guys.
Yeah. How was that?
That's weird. It's like I'm just constantly pulled back and forth between I love this or I hate this. Because like in a lot of moments in a movie like that, there are times to be really enthusiastic, and when you've seen the movie a bunch of times and all these guys are super enthusiastic, it's cool to see them just like go crazy for the moments where you're supposed to. But it's also like a narrative film with quiet moments, and people like try to find opportunities to cheer when it doesn't really belong, and it's kind of awkward. So probably wouldn't do it. But if you're gonna do it with the creators there, I guess. Also, there is this girl behind me who I just wanted to like turn around and get her autograph. I'm her biggest fan. She recited every line of the dub as they were saying it.
Oh my
And
god.
like, that sounds super annoying, and it kind of is, but it's so impressive. Like that movie's only been out for 3 years, and the dub's only been out for like 1 or 2. I guess it's been out for more than that, 2 years. So
That's a fan. That's a fan.
Yeah, that was crazy. So good on her. And then on Saturday, I did a little interview type thing with Aoi Koga, the voice of Kaguya from Kaguya-sama, as well as 2 of the producers for the series. It was like a press junket thing, so I only got a couple questions in, but those will be published at some point. Then there was the slime event, which was fine. They had like panel with producers. I'll be honest, and I knew this beforehand, producers are boring because they're not creatives and they just give PR answers for everything. But they also had the screening of the first, like, I don't know, 15 minutes of the Slime movie. And they had like a little mini concert by the theme song artists, which were Stereo Dive Foundation and it's pronounced Mindarin. And then you had an autograph if you got like the VIP tickets, which were not very expensive. So that was neat. Isayama panel I talked about a lot. That was, probably the highlight for like just a panel.
Yeah.
It stuck with me and kind of affected me ever since. And I just want Isayama to be happy and to never work again and to enjoy his money.
Build that spa he's always wanted.
Yes, he did talk about the saunas that he wants to open and that everyone should go out and go to a sauna because it's like a legal drug. Then there was the Kaguya-sama event, which included those same three people for a panel discussion, which again is not that interesting. But they announced that the movie will be coming to US theaters in February, so not too long. So that was cool to hear. And then we got to see the world premiere of the first half an hour of the movie, which was awesome to see. And then Sunday, I did the Lupin the Third panel, which was very sparsely attended. I mean, I guess it was like Sunday morning, and Lupin the Third is not that popular, which is why they shoved it in this shitty little panel room for the world premiere. But I'm glad I went because there was no one there. I was front and center, and that put me in a good position to get called on to win their first trivia question that they did, which was a super easy trivia question. I just got picked because I was right there. And
it's the name of the samurai.
Really?
Oh
wow!
No, it was. So what year did Lupin Third Part 1 air? After we've been talking about how we celebrated its 50th anniversary last year, this entire panel. So anyone with second grade math skills could have answered that, even if I didn't just happen to watch all of Part 1 like a month ago. But yeah, anyway, I won the, what is it called, 50 Animated Years of Lupin the Third Deluxe Edition. I don't know, art book, information book, coffee table book.
Yeah, I got that myself. It's great.
Yeah. When they were advertising it during the panel, I was about to buy it anyway, and then I won it, so that was cool. And it was a deluxe edition, which they only printed 1,000 of, and they cost like $75. So super cool that I got that, and it came with like an art print and a 50th anniversary pin and a 50th anniversary bookmark and the like number whatever out of 1,000 thing. So yeah, that was worthwhile.
They should have made a super deluxe version that came with the green jacket.
They were also giving out Lupin bomber jackets.
Oh my god!
They were not any of the colors that Lupin wears, but
what?
Wow!
Yeah, it's just a black bomber jacket with like a Lupin the Third 50th anniversary logo on it. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
nice.
That's a weird wasted opportunity.
I mean, it's a bomber jacket, so it looks different from his jackets anyway, even if it was the right color. But yeah,
giving out some ties.
Sure, yeah. Some boots.
Random shit.
Hand out revolvers.
All right.
You love
Katanas.
Yeah.
They should have had a what's it called? Like Fujiko mouse pads.
Oh dear God. I'm very, very surprised nobody has done that yet. Yeah, you definitely promote the Woman Called Fujiko Mine that way, and it would probably sell extra box sets. Yike.
An entire Fiat.
Yeah.
Otsuko's crashed Fiat from the 60s.
It's totaled.
Yeah, it's rusted as hell.
What is the name of the main character from Lupin the Third? And the winner will win a Fiat. It was super cool that they that's the Wolf, I believe. That they were giving out all that shit because it was a very lucrative visit to that panel.
Very nice.
Nice.
I didn't buy anything there, and I came away with a nice $75 book. So, yeah. Anyway, then there was the Mob Psycho panel, which was just the voice of Mob. That was fine, and got his autograph, which was the only one I actually won. And then they had a little event for the new Bleach anime, where they showed one of the episodes dubbed, and had a little Q&A with some of the voice actors. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to talk about AnimeNYC.
Is the dubcast basically this continuation from the old dubcast, or is it a lot of new people?
It's pretty much all the same. The only exception is Jameson Price stepped down as Chad because he stopped voicing people of color, which, arguably they're all supposed to be Japanese, so like maybe that doesn't really work, but it's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man. So we have I think we both basically enjoyed the convention, but think that there are a couple of improvements that definitely could be made on that.
Yeah, well, I think the direction they are clearly intentionally going in is the direction I do not want them to go in. But if they had more space and didn't hold it in New York in November, so that it's actually feasible to line up outside, not that you want to be on the streets of downtown Manhattan anytime, but at least it would be a little bit better if it was a different time of year so that you could actually line up, which they want to prevent. But if you really care about something, you'll line up for it instead of just leaving it up to RNG.
True, but also, let's face it, we've both seen the lines of NYC and as well as AX, the line con.
But AX is 3 times as many people, and they don't do lottery, and it works out. If you care about something, you can get it. You might
It's
have to.
probably like 30 degrees warmer too.
It's a lot fucking warmer.
Oh no. Toronto.
LA in July versus New York City in late November.
Oh jeez, I still remember walking around in an all-black suit at AX once. When it was and you had those microwave winds. Yeah. Oh boy. That was not fun. But I survived. Hey. Oh man.
Anyway, that's AnimeNYC.
Yeah. I and that on that note, I will vanish from everyone's lives here. Because I have not watched a single bit of anime. I need to go and figure out how to activate this bloody Crunchyroll account. Because it's like,
When's the last time you watched a new episode of anime?
let's see. There was something about I think there was a meteor coming, and these giant reptiles were running around scared. And yeah.
Sounds like it's from the 90s.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm pretty sure the answer is the 90s.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh wait, it was a Stein.
Shut your goddamn mouth, DJ.
It was a Steins Gate episode. Which one? I don't know.
Oh wow.
I don't remember that.
Excuse me. Yes, and
It's like impressive in a certain way.
oh man. Oh yeah, it's been. I do know. I will honestly say the listing of anime for this season between Witch from Mercury and Yoroshiatsu, a couple other titles. I mean, it really does look a really good looking season. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing y'all's thoughts on that, on it. So yeah, but yeah, I have very little to contribute. So I'll let you, the experts, talk about it, and I shall vanish. And yeah, have fun. I will talk to you soon somehow, and figure out how to upload this audio. Bloody hell. Ooh. Where is it?
It sounds good, Darius. Well, thank you very much for joining.
No problem.
It's always fun having you on, especially with your insights on older stuff, which is not exactly the wheelhouse of most of us here. So
That's what I get for being.
a wealth of knowledge.
That's what I get for being old.
Why are you doing that?
Yes, all right.
Alrighty.
I'll see you guys later on.
Adios.
Peace.
All right, you fellas ready to talk about some soccer boys?
Soccer boys.
Soccer boys.
R.I.P. Japan in the World Cup.
Which, if anything, strengthens the argument of Blue Lock.
True. They passed up some very could have been ego moments.
It makes watching the show like weirdly cathartic because you're like, maybe they're onto something. Yeah, I just want to jump right into it and talk about soccer boys up in here.
Yeah.
So step one, who's your favorite soccer boy?
Oh,
I'll go with Bachira.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
Bachira is a good pick. I mean, honestly, Ego is like really amazing
Does
too.
he count?
I don't think he counts.
I don't think he counts. Pick
Okay,
a soccer boy, not
Okay.
a fucking
Oh,
What a
Vatican.
weird soccer man.
Yeah, I feel like Bachira is definitely an easy go-to. I also do like Kunigami, given that like the like older brother vibes, kind of like
Cool.
holding the team together.
Yeah. Ours was I asked Cain earlier before we started recording, but mine is Chidi. So, yeah, he's the boy.
That boy.
Yeah, I'm glad everybody is enjoying this show because it really like is growing on me with every episode. I didn't think
So
I was
good.
gonna like it as much when they just defaulted to we're just gonna play a lot of soccer matches over and over again, especially with how much I loved the whole keep away game to start off, and I thought that they would like weave some more like soccer adjacent things into it. But I think it's really grown on me just with how they play, like how they present like the soccer matches too, because each one has such an like the stakes are so high on each one of them, and what they've done to like mix it up. Like I was not expecting team betrayal.
Yeah,
For one
like
thing.
literally, it's like, oh, now we Among Us. Okay.
We Among Us. That is easily one of like I think my top like individual sports anime moments of a long time, just because like most sports anime shows don't do that shit like at all. Like there are villains, like there are heels and face like baby faces and shit like that, like wrestling, but you really don't ever see that type of deal go down where like a team member just is like fuck all y'all, I'm here for me, which I mean in a way is exactly how Blue Lock is supposed to work.
Right.
But yeah, it's been really great. I've been enjoying it. I also like that I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like especially this last match, because the show leaves the door open for various ways for people to advance. There is some mysteriousness in how it's gonna go. Like you can't just predict. Well, obviously Isagi's team is going to win all the time because he's the main character. Well, since there's a chance for him to move on without them, it leaves it up to, well, they may not win every match. He could score goals, but they may lose or other various things. So it really kind of keeps me on the edge of my seat a little bit, which
Yeah,
is also
like-
very much appreciated.
If they were going to include that rule for that reason, so that, you know, you see the rest of your darlings die and only the protagonist lives on.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking hope the team wins because I need more Bachira in my life.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I like how they leave it open ended enough for you to wonder. Because yeah, like in Prince of Tennis or you know, I guess you could say like Night in the Area and all those ones, you pretty much kind of know that the main character's team is always going to win to move the plot forward, unless something like insane happens, like he moves to an entirely different country or some shit and starts over. But in this one, in Blue Lock, you really don't know, and that is very much appreciated. DJ, what do you think of the show so far? I know like sports shonen and stuff really isn't your bag most of the time, so it's fun to see you kind of really get into one.
I like this because the characters are really good and because it's fucking ridiculous and it's suspenseful.
Yeah, for sure.
And those are all things that I think make a good show. And so I'm always excited to go into every episode because I know it's going to end on a cliffhanger and I love cliffhangers. And it's just I also like survival game type things. I've compared the show to Squid Game before, and I'm a big Squid Game fan. So it's just like the uncertainty and the chaotic progression of the characters and their environment is very alluring. So I am really digging this show so far. It's probably not like anything else I've watched in terms of anime, though. So yeah,
it's definitely way more chaotic than most sports shows.
Yeah.
And less about the individual main character's journey and more about just the in the moment like chaos and strife and struggling, which is definitely a way to go about it that leaves more time for the show to put you in matches and stuff when there isn't that like introspective element outside of just how do I get better at soccer. There is no like outside problems, which can be welcome sometimes, but then Blue Lock just cuts that shit out. They're like, nah, fuck that. These guys are locked in a building. The only thing they worry about is soccer. So it really like distills all that good like hell yeah shit that you get in anime like this and serves it up to you. So yeah, I'm fucking into it.
Same.
Yeah, speaking on the like elimination game aspect of it, I do like that the cast is like well-rounded enough that there are some stragglers that it's like, yeah, I can see them moving on from like the bald priest kid and like the dude that just betrayed them and stuff. But there are characters like Bachira and Chigiri. You're like, are they going to continue to go on, or is there going to be like a big moment where like they're eliminated and it's like totally tears them?
Value directly correlating to how much time they get in the opening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that the ones who get the most time in the opening are going to be the ones who last the longest.
Yeah, that's a good indicator.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely the main characters amongst the team, but it does seem like, a good opportunity with this kind of plot to, basically kill off one of your favorites so that you have that emotional connection, even though it's just getting eliminated from a soccer game.
Yeah, we definitely need to see more. I really want to see more from like Raichi, Sharktooth Man, who's very angry all the time. Because he's, there's a bunch of characters that have taken sort of a backseat that some of them are definitely I don't really care about, like Igarashi. That's the kind of bald temple kid, whatever. He's whatever. I don't care. But
I don't think anybody's supposed to like him.
He's
He's
just
a throwaway character.
Yeah, he's just there to fill a roster spot.
Yeah.
He's there to make sure they have enough people to play a soccer match. But like for how much screen time Jingo gets, he hasn't really done much of anything, so I'm waiting for him to pop off. And I think that's going to be dope. So I hope he gets that opportunity, because he's really gotten, especially in this last match with his defense that he's been playing, like, which is great. By the way, I love that he's just master shit talker. Like he's got Reggie Miller level shit talk going on with this guy, where he's like, "You gonna call the cops on me for stalking you this bad?" Like it's great. So I'm hoping he gets his chance to kind of shine a little bit and flex his, what do they call it, their weapon or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching it, and I like how the show doesn't give you a whole lot of time to rest between the matches either, which is good. It keeps up that pace. So you don't get like a match and then 4 or 5 episodes of them doing other stuff. It's like match, episode like in the middle while they prep, and then maybe a half of the next episode, then the match starts. Like they really kind of keep the blood flowing.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like the most about it. There's never really a dull moment. It's always
not at all.
Something's happening.
Plus, there's lots of anime crazy eyes.
Plenty of crazy eyes. I do like the like little lighthearted extra time bits at the end of the episodes too. They're just like a nice little cap to each episode. Get a little bit of a laugh and more characterization.
And I think the studio, whoever makes it, because I don't know who makes this.
8-bit.
Okay, are they pretty new? I don't think I've ever heard of them before.
Yeah, they're not huge. Slime is their other big property.
Okay, I think they've done a good job so far of like picking what times to use like CGI and what not to. Like normally that really bothers me, but it's been decent for this show because all like the important moments when they're actually like doing dribbling or doing defense or offense, like really weighty moments in the match, they draw all of it, and then when they show the CGI, it's just like when one of them is dribbling up the field, like just to try to get to the next cut scene, essentially. So I think they've done a good job of balancing that out as well. Like especially with Bachira's like dribbling animation, I thought was good. Like I thought that looked really good and fluid. Like it made you feel like he was really clowning on them. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with how the show's turning out. So I look forward to it. I think it's the one. It may be the show I look forward to most every week. I think just because it never ceases to like fucking rile me up. Kestrel, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely appreciate that it is so different from any other sports anime I've seen, and so much more suspenseful, I guess. Like, there's always the suspense of how a game is going to go, but now, it has this elimination challenge element to it, which even though I feel like all of these people being like, my life is over if I get eliminated, when really the only thing that happens is they can't play on Japan's national team. Like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But anyway, I think it feels a little bit more like high stakes. And yeah, I think the animation is doing a good job. The direction is doing a good job of conveying that intensity and just how over the top everything is, while not being like, anime superpowers like some sports anime. So yeah, it's a good time.
That's true. They've done a good job with that so far.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get into that, considering this is still like the bottom of the
Right.
barrel, people.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
So we're definitely gonna get into some like dog shit about a guy hitting a ball so fast you can't see it, and then it's like flicking all over the pitch or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like we're gonna get into some shit like that, but right now it's got a really good balance where they're really good, but it still feels somewhat believable in how good they are.
Yeah.
I do agree with you about the national team thing, though.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I think is funny because they could just be professional soccer players and make a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Or if they really wanted to play for a team, move and get dual citizenship somewhere. Figure it out. You can figure it out. That and I think sometimes it does veer a little too far into I'm explaining everything that I'm feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
In between shots, like a lot of telling and not showing, which I mean anime has a problem with in general, especially sports shows where they feel like they need to have a narration about their moments in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't fault it that much because it's kind of just a trope of all of anime.
I think that's kind of a symptom of the author needing to be like, guys, I swear I understand how this sport works, even though I'm like, hyperbolizing a bit. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a fatal flaw for sports anime in general.
Yeah, especially all the talk about what is it, fucking the formula for a goal. It's like, oh man. But yeah, those are really the only two things that I don't like. And I like the opening too. Was that Unison Square Garden or whatever?
Yeah, I always like
Yeah.
that.
They've been around for eons,
Mm-hmm.
but their shit always sounds good. So I like the opening song. Yeah, I'm glad we can all bond over a sports show, especially because I know DJ isn't typically into these. Did you watch Run with the Wind, DJ?
I did, yeah, and we talked about it a lot. I love that show.
Good. That's what I thought. I was almost certain that you had watched it, and we went into long conversations about it because it is also a sports show that isn't like your typical sports show in a lot of ways.
And
I definitely like that a lot more than Blue Lock so far, but they're very different monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to compare them.
Yeah. I think they both do a really good job at exploring all of the main characters really deeply.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially Chiguri, which we were discussing a little bit off air. We'll say that his strife in particular is so incredibly relatable for anyone who's played an organized sport at like any type of serious level. You've either had it happen to you or you know someone who's had it happen to them where they're really really good and they you feel invincible, and then you have that one injury that kind of brings you back down to earth and puts you in a very vulnerable spot, and then you may never play as well as you could, or you can, but it's just like a mental block. Like that's super super duper relatable in ways that I think anybody can really kind of think about. It's not so much the whole like, this is just my dream to play soccer. There's other things going on that have kind of blocked him, and I thought the whole like busting out of the chains thing was really dope as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, when he busts out and then he goes like the fucking Flash.
That was sick. That reminded me of from the Haikyuu Over the Top season when Hinata was doing like his training arc, and there was a similar visual of his like foot being held down either by, I don't think it was chains, it was like hands, or the pavement was like grabbing him or something, and it was just that overcoming of a mental barriers. Yeah, a thing that isn't explored as much as it should, at least in anime sports shows.
Yeah, and that is one thing that makes this and Run with the Wind feel like it stands atop other shows, and Haikyuu definitely to an extent as well. They're good character studies into the athletes themselves and their mental capacity and barriers, and not just, if I work harder, everything will be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can move on to another show, because I know we got started talking about the season a little late, so I don't want to waste it all on Soccer Boys. But we can jump into something else. I know another big show is, I think a decent amount of us are watching, is The Witch from Mercury, if you want to talk about that for a little.
I'm down.
Excellent. That makes at least two of us.
Yeah.
Down for the Gundam drama.
Yeah, so I don't want to say cooled off on this show, because that, I guess, would imply that I don't enjoy it as much as I once did, which is not true. I still enjoy it thoroughly. But I guess some of the initial hype has finally started to die down as we get closer to what I imagine will be, it's not just introductions and action anymore. It's like, okay, here's plot, and we have started a company, and so that is a thing that we're doing now. But
support our Kickstarter, please.
Yeah. It's still a really good show, and the characters are really hitting with me, and I'm into it. And it's not super lesbian yet, but I feel like the lesbian vibes are getting stronger. So cool.
Yeah, I don't think it's too surprising to kind of cool off on it, because like you said, the show itself has kind of settled in. We got the introductions out of the way, we got a lot of the big cool battles out of the way, and now it's like build the groundwork for the big anti-corp conspiracies and all this stuff, and like the mystery and drama with what's her name's mom, and like whatever her plan is, trying to be the next Char clone of the season and stuff like that. So the show's definitely building towards stuff right now, so it makes sense that it kind of leveled out for a second.
I don't know how to feel about the mom. She confuses me. I'm not really sure what her MO is.
I think that's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
But you gave Miorine that like super death squeeze handshake.
Yo, chill.
That whole conversation was boss as fuck. She's just like, oh, so daddy's little girl isn't happy that she has all the resources in the world and still doesn't get what she wants? That's strange. Better treat my daughter right, though.
So unnecessary. She literally just met her.
And what'd she say near the end? She was like, well, if you're going to marry her, we're going to have to get to know each other, and I will crush you. Which essentially...
So good.
Yeah, I like how the show is setting is I think it's a risky take to go into we're going to make a company and it's going to be all about medical stuff so we can help people, because I mean that's clearly not going to go very well. But I think it's interesting in that it sets up for them, for lack of better terminology, to not just get crushed by mobile suits, but by the weight of capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, and
No.
Gundam has never been super like pro corporate, like not very big into corpo lifestyle. But yeah, Witch from Mercury seems like it's really gonna take it to like another level since we've already had like business fueled political homicide attempts and well, and business based successful homicides. So it's really going into the whole like ruthlessness of space capitalism and everything, which for the most part the show in the Gundam universe, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not super into like expanded universe type of stuff, like not Universal Century, but they've always been big into sort of criticizing, but never really getting involved into it. Like it's always been sort of a a disease or an antagonist that just kind of affects the people. We have people actively engaging in the system and all the risks that it has, and showing their experience, for better or for worse, rather than them just existing and capitalism happening to them.
Yeah, I feel like the main difference there is that the woes of capitalism and the reverberations of its effects in most cases is shown on the battlefield in like UC and all those other ones, where here, yeah, because it's like a school, it's a little lower stakes. All of that is happening in the background in these big bourgeoisie meetings that they're having and stuff. So yeah, it is interesting that it's like these ideas aren't necessarily new for Gundam, but they're being presented in a new way, and I think that's refreshing.
Well, they're being presented in a way that, as the picture Kestrel posted in the Discord, is much more ground level and relatable in a way. It isn't like a high level affecting this battlefield. It's like, yeah, showing big protests and people's lives actively being made worse outside of just like this company blew up this thing or whatever. It's very much, showing you kind of the base level problems with the system that way. So yeah, it's that I think I appreciate that they're giving it a shot. I don't know how to feel how it's going to go because I feel like you can go too far with a plot line like that where it's just like capitalism is bad and evil at an almost like clown level, like a comic book evil where it lacks a subtlety or a depth. It's just they're going to make a company and now they're all going to be ruthlessly murdered or whatever. Like you need to have some type of balance so you can appreciate the finer points of how economic systems can hurt people and not just they're going to be destroyed. Because then it kind of dulls the message in a way. Because then it makes it, I don't know, just not as interesting. It just feels more heavy-handed. So they just got to look out for that. But I mean, I don't write anime. I'm just a fuck schlub. So I also like a lot of the students in the school. I think it has a good cast of characters this time around. Like I find almost all of them interesting in one way, shape, or form, regardless of if they're a part of what is it like the 5 or 3 houses or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite remember how many companies, like big companies, there are.
Well,
but
there were some mergers going on, so who knows now? They're pulling some Disney shit.
Yeah, they're making it even more confusing.
Yeah. But no, it is a fun cast. I like that. I like that there's like the 2 gambling bros that every chance they're on screen, they're like, oh man, I should have thrown money down on that or whatever. Like they're like the crypto bros of the show. And then there's Choo Choo, who literally anytime Miorine opens her mouth, she's like, who made this bitch the boss?
Yeah, she really has a problem with her.
She's so fun. And then there's like still characters that I can't really get a like a understanding of, like that Nanara character. Like I feel like she's still hiding some stuff
She's
that
my
I
favorite.
don't know.
I love her.
Yeah, I think she's a good character because
Nika?
Nika, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The one that's like a engineering student or something.
Mm-hmm.
I like her hair.
It is cool. It has that two-tone thing like they do in Do It Yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I was just gonna say
I
that.
learned recently that I'm really into that.
It is a cool design choice. I like it. I think it adds a nice little pop to her as it does the characters in Do It Yourself. Yeah, I
Well,
feel the same way that you do, Bran, but about like Shadiq.
Yeah.
I like how he's got like his own big ass harem. It's just
He
fucking-
does.
just constantly in a room full of girls who want to bang him.
I mean, he's a good-looking guy, so
Yeah,
I'm
and he doesn't
hoping
even
the-
fucking button his shirt. He just leaves that shit open.
would
I'm hoping the
you?
moment he steps into a Gundam, he's just like his harem of bitches is just like in the Gundam cockpit with him.
The last Gundam show had a main character whose existence is literally just flying around in his giant spaceship full of a giant harem.
Oh, you're right.
It seems like a very mech anime thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about the efficacy of actually doing that because those cockpits always look pretty cramped.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. If it works for you, it works for you. But yeah, I find him very intriguing because I still can't tell yet exactly, and I haven't watched the newest episode, so maybe there's some unfolding there. But at the end of the previous one, you were starting to see a little bit of where he was going. But I still like don't know where his loyalties lie, if he even has loyalties to anything or anybody.
Yeah.
Like
he
that.
almost feels like a red herring to me. Like I can't tell if he's trying to be the other Char clone where he's like fighting against this family system that he's a part of, because he obviously doesn't agree with his dad's stuff either. So it's like, yeah, I feel like the political intrigue is getting very convoluted.
Yeah, especially with Shadiq and Miorine's like connection that they used to like. Close is not the correct word, it seems, but they worked together a few times in sort of a little bit of mini rebellion against their respective parents, like when they opened up that company together to try and get the funding at that, what they call it, seeding party or something.
Yeah, the witch trial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just can't wait for Guel to get his glow up again.
Yep.
Man's been dragged
Yeah.
through the mud.
He really has been. He's been the Vegeta. He just needs to get his moment in the sun. He's been the jobber supreme.
Oh,
Because he was even being picked on by a bunch of fucking scrubs in that one episode, and he was just trying to eat his stew out of a coffee can.
yeah.
From fucking hero to zero in like a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like what, like 2 or 3 duels over the course of like 2 weeks, and then he's living in a van down by the river.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll like. I kind of want him to like join their company.
I'm sure he will. Like
Yeah.
that seems like the natural progression.
Yeah, because what else is he gonna do? Like he doesn't have a shot to get back in his own house unless he
Goes back to being an asshole. No
Yeah, 'cause
changes
he-
at all.
he's not going to get back into his house unless he does something incredibly heinous. And even then, he'll have to deal with whatever, like, conscience problem he has, which he does appear to have one. Like, he has some form of honor. Like, he isn't underhanded in trying to get what he wants, which is also why he's cool, I guess, living outside. But, yeah, I want him to get his glow up as well. What do you think of the like the mobile suit designs and stuff? I like Ariel a lot. I'm not really sure I'm in love with any of the other ones.
None of them really matter to me. Just big
You're-
robots.
Yeah, you're not a big mech guy, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I haven't watched the newest episode, but when they were teasing what's his name's mech, the shirtless guy.
Oh, the Michaelis.
Yeah, they were like teasing a visual of that one, so I'm excited to see what that one will look like. But I think the designs look really clean. I feel like compared to maybe it's not a great comparison, but like the Hathaway movies, the mechs in that feel very not Gundam, and they almost felt more like a, I don't know, even like a Armored Core, like some more like real robot type of stuff. But no, these ones feel like right in the lane that they should be, and the designs are very clean, and We talked about it in the previous episode, but like just the animation in general has been really stellar so far.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with how they animate the mobile suits with that blend of CGI and hand drawn stuff. It just really works for a Gundam that is expected to have like somewhat human movements, but since it doesn't look like a person, you don't suffer from that like uncanny valley weird. Like that's not how that should move since we don't have something to that effect. But yeah, I like the design of the Ariel a lot.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool. I would certainly buy a Gunpla of it.
Yeah. To air a sentiment of one of my friends who's also watching it, basically he's just like, I just need more mobile suits with bits that shoot lasers. Just more of those. Just keep coming.
They keep coming.
More funnels. More funnels.
More funnels.
Those are always cool, and they always look good most of the time. Even though I personally feel like if I was trying to battle a Gundam that had one, I'd be like, this is the cheapest shit.
Oh, yeah. That
Like,
was
what do
something
you-
that was so funny about like the Gundam build series is that like all the busted Gundams that win those tournaments have like bits and just destroy every other Gunpla.
No, that's how Gundam Breaker works too. The video game that's like the exact same thing as
Yep.
as that series is you can just build these Gunpla that are just so OP. Like they're just walking around and they'll just nuke a Gundam from like 37 miles away.
Yep.
Like it's fucking ridiculous what you can build. So that part is accurate to the anime, at least the build fighters.
Mhm. Another show with a banging OP too. I really like the music.
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. I have no idea who makes that one, but that's a good OP as well.
You'll also be right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I watch that one every time.
Yep. No skips.
You should watch all of them every time.
I agree.
No, fuck that. That's stupid.
Netflix would like to disagree.
Yeah.
Fuck Netflix. I hate that they do that.
Yeah, I wish that was
really
an option to turn off.
I know. It's just so BS.
Yeah, I have to, every time I watch something on Netflix, obviously you have to grab the remote quickly when the ending starts, so that you can say watch credits. And then you gotta press back when it's on we're going to play the next episode in X second screen, and then manually play it so that it doesn't auto skip the opening.
Fucking American attention spans.
I was legitimately afraid because people were theorizing that the final batch of Stone Ocean wouldn't have a new OP just because it makes sense that for the Netflix binge culture, like why would they throw more money at David Pro or like why would they even throw away money if like they expect people to just skip the opening? It's like, no, dude, this is like such a major part of what makes this franchise so important.
They did use the same opening for the first two, though.
They did, and I don't know who to point the finger at for that one, but I mean,
I think Netflix generally has less influence than people like to believe.
Yeah,
I think they throw money at a thing and then they broadcast it. They don't really tell them what they can or can't do.
They throw enough money at it so they can put a Netflix original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes after the fact.
Yeah.
The fucking Tatami Time Machine Blues, the nerve of them to put Hulu original on that after so many months of it not being available because Disney didn't know what to do with it in the US. And then they're like, sure, we'll shit it out on this platform. Yeah, we made it. It's ours. It's an original.
That's disgusting.
Yep.
You made this? I made this. It's literally that meme.
The power of money.
Yep.
All right. If everyone's cool, we can move on to the next show. Is there anyone that anybody wanted to talk about? Because if not, I'm just gonna bust through the ones that we all have in common for the most part.
I guess I just briefly wanted to touch on one because I was sad that we didn't talk about it all the first time we talked about fall shows, but it's now at the top of my rankings. But Mob Psycho season 3 is really, really good. I basically just wanted to say that it's, I don't know, it's maybe one of my favorite like Bones productions at this point. They've given so much care to this series, like even more so than some of their other high profile shows. And I mean, it's in the same season as another high profile Bones show, My Hero, and I think it's just like blowing it away in terms of production value. And yeah, I don't know, this just like the story of Mob Psycho has been such a cool progression for the character of Mob in general, that he's become one of my favorite protagonists in the last couple of years. And just like watching his growth throughout the show has been really satisfying. And I'm sad that it's, but like I guess happy at the same time that it's actually coming to an end. So, but it's going on in style.
Yeah, we have not gotten a Nakamura cut in My Hero this season, have we?
No.
Because I feel like Bones has kept him exclusively on that series for the past like half decade, and now we got a huge cut from him in Mob Psycho and none in My Hero. Very interesting.
Yeah, one of the craziest cuts too, and it was like a long one too.
Yeah, it's very
crazy.
Long. It's great. Yeah, no, I mean it looks amazing. The president of Bones at Crunchyroll Expo was talking about how like no matter what, even when they know that no one will notice it, it'll make things so much easier, they will not use any CG in that show, which is super cool. And yeah, it looks amazing. Mob's character growth is definitely like the highlight, and that was definitely the case in the second season already. So to see that come to this, kind of final concluding arc here, it's really satisfying to see. The end of the short little club president arc was really weird. I was not expecting any of that at all.
Oh my god, like the alien abduction thingy.
Yeah.
That whole ending sequence was also solo animated by the episode director, which is insane to me. Yep. That doesn't make any sense.
Should not be possible.
He animated that shit. It looked like on the ones. Like that shit looked crazy.
So fluid. Yeah.
That gave me hella Space Dandy vibes. Like that specific segment was very much in the line with that. But the whole
Dimple Broccoli arc, especially the final episode of that, even beyond the animation, was just so incredible emotionally. And yeah, now we're finally getting to like the end, the last arc, and it's all about Mob and his character and his growth, which has been the highlight for the past season or two. So yeah, definitely good stuff.
I think the thing that makes Mob's character growth so special too is that like it's ingrained in his superpowers and how telekinesis is presented in the show, because all these people use it for their own personal gain, whether it's to like take over society or get a lot of money or just like hurt people that wronged you. And every time Mob has built up to his like 100% explosion, there's just like a new lesson to be had in like him learning like rage or gratitude or respect and all this stuff. And I think it's just such a genius way to write a character, which it's like a character he's basically written in Saitama in a sense, that he's like so stupidly overpowered compared to everyone around him. Yeah. But just like the nuance of how Mob as a person has grown from those explosive moments is just so impactful and really make him such a special character.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more powerful than Saitama, because Saitama starts at that level of, he doesn't have that much to go in any direction. And yeah, seeing Mob like in his adolescence trying to learn how to be a human and feel and be honest with his emotions and deal with society and other people. And then, the the metaphors involved with presenting his superpowers alongside that character arc is really, really high quality.
Yeah. And we were speaking earlier about like the fortitude you need to be a manga artist, and I hope one is doing well. He seems to be, because apparently I don't know if it was confirmed, but I think he's going to be starting a new series soon. So I think that's exciting that a guy that was just making silly web comics has become such like a cultural icon in anime, that he can just continue to make this stuff and get support from some of the best people in the industry to make it come to life for anime viewers.
Yeah, like I can't think of another creator who has gotten as consistently high level adaptations other than season 2 of One Punch Man. But like season 1 and all of Mob Psycho are like some of the best animated TV anime ever made. And one's art is like so simplistic. So
it really is. Yeah.
So crude.
Yeah. But yeah, amazing show. Needed to talk about it just for a little bit at least. Love me some Mob.
Yeah, it's one I'll have to go back to, because I started watching it and couldn't get into it, but that's more of the gap had been so long I forgot most of the characters. So I think what I'll do is when this season's done, I'll just roll back and maybe, if not watch it all from the beginning again, at least the previous season, because there was stuff happening. I was like, I sort of remember that guy, and I sort of remember you, and sort of remember you. But I feel like since I didn't kind of keep up with it or remember, I wasn't really getting the full experience, because it had been quite some time between the last season and now, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
at
been
least 5 years.
3 years between each season. It was 2016, 2019, 2022.
Right. So, yeah, that's a long time, at least for me. So I'll just have to go back and rewatch them, because I have always really liked the show. It's just right now, I was like, I don't have the time to do that, but I'll definitely go back and check it out then. And then that movie thing or whatever, which I can't remember. I think that was more about Reagan, though. Can't remember, but
The what?
It wasn't there like an OVA or something.
Oh, so there's the one that's about Reagan. It's just a clip show.
Okay.
There's one that comes after season 2 that's like non-essential, but it's new content.
Okay. Well, then maybe I'll put that one on a little bit on the back burner. But cool. Glad to know it's still going strong and is very good. How about we move on? DJ, is there anything on your list you wanted to talk about? I know I've kind of picked a couple shows from yours already, mainly since we had them in common, but if there's anything you wanted to talk about in particular.
I mean, yeah, I don't have to talk at length about either of them, but Bocchi the Rock and Do It Yourself are still shows that I thoroughly enjoy. I have pushed Bocchi up my rankings as I watched more of the show. But I had a hard time figuring out why I don't like it as much as I expected to like it, which is still a lot. But I think I've finally figured it out, and it's I like grew up in that same environment that they are in, just like local venues and playing shows and starting bands and all that jazz. And I think that the part of the show that doesn't resonate with me is that they don't really capture what that feels like well, at least from my own experiences. There's a lot more it's too easy for them, I guess I will say, and sure, a lot of that is in part to Nijika's sister literally owning a venue, but I don't think that the difficulty of starting a band has really been a factor at all. And yeah, Bocchi's super talented, but like even Kita, who's just like, she knows literally nothing, she's like, I can play guitar now. It's just that's it. So I think that was like the thing that I was expecting out of the show that I missed out on, and that's probably why I don't like it as much as I expected to, but again, still like it a lot.
I totally understand that sentiment because I have a similar thing with music related shows because even when they attempt to show that like, oh look, it's not easy to like get to the top, but like, because it's an anime with only so few episodes, they, eventually do need to have success if they want people to keep watching the show. So when I watch something like this or like Paripi Kome or like Carol and Tuesday, it's like, they try to show that there's some struggle to artistry, but at the same time, they very quickly become very well-known artists. And it's like, oh, well, that's not realistic at all. But
I think Carol and Tuesday handled it fine because I still feel like there was some sort of progression and that the fucking like American Idol arc kind of rocketed them to stardom, which is a thing that does happen.
yeah.
But Bochi and the crew of Kesoku Band just have not really failed at any point.
But
like they fuck up in like one song and then it's like, okay, we're good.
they're also not successful yet,
That's true. They're not successful yet. But it's just like I said, it doesn't feel like it felt growing up in a band.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience. I wasn't that person. I was friends with a lot of those people and was hung out with them. I was groupie. But yeah, I feel like when you have standards with something like that, it's hard for a show that like wants you to care about cute girls being cute to live up to that standard. So I still think it does most everything better than like Cain, which I still like a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
But yeah, in my case, I like the music aspect of it, and I think seeing how Bochi overcomes some of her insecurities and neuroses to be a better public musician and a better bandmate are effective cathartic moments. But I think I care about the show a lot more because of just the characters and their normal day-to-day life issues, especially Bochi.
I would die for Nijika, so I get it.
Yeah, I like all four characters, but yeah, Bochi, her character really hits me. And like even like, all right, so I'm a loser. I don't know if you guys know that.
No, I got it.
So the things that she goes through, and like it's exaggerated and they're done for gags, but the way they're exaggerated is kind of how it feels to be that person. Like Comey doesn't work for me that well. Maybe some people feel like that.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably a big factor. And just the extremes that they present her social anxiety with, and how much they're played for laughs feel a little more disingenuous. But in my experience, Bochi feels just so real.
That's good.
Like the things they exaggerate, like reaction to extreme extroverts, she just like explodes as like, yeah, that's what it feels like. And like that episode, just the last episode, like it wasn't the best episode. I think the episode before was a lot better. But it was just a simple little slice of life story, and just Bochi spending all of summer break waiting for her friends to invite her out. Like, I have lived that, and it just hits me so hard. And then the satisfaction when it finally happens, and just the joy she feels with actually spending time with people who care about her and forming that connection that she never had for her entire life, and just having it, be simple, but everything that she could have ever asked for. Like every little bit of that speaks to me and resonates with me in my experience so much. And yeah, I think the way that he's growing, and even just the way that, you know, that kind of, like, I say I'm an introvert, like the textbook introvert, but it's very clear from her very first appearance in episode 1 that that doesn't mean that you don't want to have all of these social interactions. It's just very difficult for you to deal with those experiences and environments, and it's overwhelming, and it's hard to, react naturally in the moment and read the room and be able to be like a social butterfly and figure out how to respond to the different characteristics of all the people that you're just meeting. And yeah, all of those things, it just really feels real.
Yeah, I get that. And that's well said.
Is that good for Bochi?
That's good for Bochi. And there's not really much to talk about when it comes to do it yourself. So I guess we can revisit that once the season is over. And for now, it's just I'm still having a good time with the girls in the DIY club.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree. I am growing more fond of the art style and its weird, like, sketchy sort of look.
Yeah, it's like really minimalist and cool.
That's growing on me every episode. I'm like, oh, I like how it's just kind of like is what it is.
Yeah.
It's very inoffensive. Like, it's not really going to make you viscerally feel one way or the other. It's like, if you like it, you're gonna probably keep liking it. That's about where it sits with me.
I will say, job code fucking annoys me.
Yeah, she sucks. She would not be nearly as bad. Yeah, she wouldn't be nearly as bad if she didn't try to speak English.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's less the shitty English and more just her voice just like grates on me in general.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I think it's definitely the English part that gets me. I wouldn't mind her. Yeah, I wouldn't mind her nearly as much, especially because just the decisions to use English doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah.
Like when and where. It's like, why would you pick it? Okay, that's fine.
Like when you're like filling out like a fucking job application or something, and you say that you're really good at something that you're not good at, and that's just how she got into the English thing.
Yeah,
yeah, I can speak English. I got it.
Yeah, what was that? She made it. Yeah, exactly. And licorice pizza. The girl's just like, yep, yeah, I can do that. I speak every language. Yep, I can do horseback riding. Totally, I can. Yep.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that very much. I still like the show. I'm interested to see how this treehouse thing unfolds because that's quite a project. Do they have to follow building codes? Who knows? But yeah, so it's good. I look forward to watching it. Yeah, we can shift. Is there anything, Kestrel, you want to talk about from your list? We've kind of gone through most except for yours. I know you've been watching a lot of these anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think Cain should defend his opinion on why he doesn't like Chainsaw Man.
As I told you before the episode started, I'd spent a couple days trying to figure it out, like really kind of pinpoint why for this conversation. And I think for the most part, it's just I'm not in the mood for it. That's like it. I wish I had something more profound to tell you, but I just don't look forward to watching it. I don't like the CGI. It does a lot of cool stuff. So I'm not even going to say it's a bad show. It's just like the most offensive thing I could think of when I was trying to think of the hottest takes possible was it reminds me of a slightly better version of Gantz.
Oof.
In that it has like a nihilistic streak where it's like I'm not allowed to be happy for anybody or happy at any time because most of the show talks about is just how everyone dies all of the time. So it has this like hedonistic nihilistic streak to it. But I mean, it's better than that. Gantz was incredibly annoying because it just wallowed in it. And that was the whole.
That wasn't like a high bar to pass by saying
No.
comparing it to Gantz.
Like I said, that was the or when Kestrel and I were talking about it, and I compared it to Marvel Snap and how I think that's the biggest bullshit on the planet.
Well, yeah.
If that's how it goes.
Right. That was
Which
the
I think
premise
is
there.
another problem. That's another problem where with the decision that it made, I have such like for the big twist, I'm having a hard time coming to grips with it because I'm like, all right, so obviously spoiler tag, but you have to talk about it if you're going to talk about the show at this point. Either almost every single character is dead, or they're going to bring them back in a bullshit way that they don't even mention until this happened. So it's like an ass pool that they're actually not dead, or everybody's dead except for like one or two people at most. But the show spent a decent amount of time trying to get you to connect with them and showing their backgrounds and stuff, and I'm never a fan of that, really, outside of some very special circumstances. Like Kamina is a good example of an exception to the rule, but for the most part, I'm like, if you're going to kill these characters, do it early. Don't expect me to watch 7 episodes and change of trying to get to know them and understand them and create a connection than just to kill them off unceremoniously. At least some of them unceremoniously. Some got a decent send-off. Others were just like shot in the head.
I will say that's fair, but I will also say that despite it, not them, being built upon, and like you said, why couldn't you just kill them earlier? Technically, this is like when Chainsaw Man really even starts picking up. So this is almost like. I don't know. I wouldn't even call the last episode like a major twist. It's more like this is when the show really starts showing its true colors. So I don't think you should take the events of the last episode or two as like this is like the major shift for the show. More like this is the show finally becoming Chainsaw Man. And
I think that's also part and parcel to the problem. Is what is it going to be then? Because if I'm not looking forward to what happened and what it's going to be, will I even like what it turns into?
Okay.
Like, I guess where is it going to go that I would enjoy it? Or is it... I'm like, you don't have to tell me, obviously, but I really don't want the show just to turn into watching Denji get attached to a group of people and then they get killed and then he gets attached to another person and they get killed and it's just a series of unfortunate events for him over and over again as he tries to find his place in the world or whatever, because that's just, especially not now. I'm not really into that type of character study or show. Like maybe, I don't know, it's weird to say, like a couple weeks or a month or a year, I could come back and be like, I'm in the mood for this now. But like right now, especially looking at the other shows I'm watching that all have like at least somewhat optimism or I don't know, not realism, that's a terrible frame of reference, but they just don't make me feel sad watching them.
Yeah.
Because there's
understandable though.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Chainsaw Man that I'm like, this doesn't feel enjoyable for me to watch. Like, I mean, you almost watch a rape, and as I've made clear on this show many, many times, like I'm really not into how anime handles sexual stuff a lot of the time because it's always ham-fisted and uncomfortable and like just weird. And watching Denji almost get like raped, kind of like, even though he was quote unquote willing and stuff, I'm like, no, like check. And one of his, and Kestrel, you mentioned this, one of his whole bits so far is he's just being like sexually prowled upon by anybody who wants something from him. And I'm like, not feeling all that. So yeah, I think this is just a show for me for another time.
That's fair. I think there's, especially a show with like this kind of tone, it's not something that you can, like earlier when we were talking about like Giovanni's Island or Grave of the Fireflies, it's like not something you just throw on because you want to throw it on. Like you need to find yourself in the right headspace to even enjoy it.
100%.
And yeah, I feel like I mean, you might not even like it in a year or two, so like it could totally just be not your thing, which is
Yeah, and it does do a lot of cool stuff. I don't want to just shit on it. Like,
yeah.
I like I like the powers, like Cain and all that stuff. I think is really cool, and the idea that these, and I don't think it's like a super original idea, but the way they made it that the demons are basically just empowered by people's fear of whatever it could be. So people's fear bring the demon to life and make it stronger, which I think is called like a topa, from like the supernatural type of universe. It's like a monster that relies on you believing in it to be real. So like the gun demon, of course, is going to be strong because guns are a very scary thing. And the more people are scared of guns, the stronger it gets. So I think that's a really cool idea. Yeah, the powers were cool. And I like that Denji isn't a typical protagonist in that his main, he felt over the top, but still a more realistic, like 16-year-old boy in his position. He wasn't all about like friends, family, and whatever. It was teenage stuff. Like hormone stuff. So I thought that was interesting as well. So it does do a lot of like stuff that I'm into. There's just I don't think I'm in the headspace to watch it. Is really where it is at the end of the day.
For sure. I guess just
another good OP too.
Oh yeah, very good OP. And I mean, we're just blessed with a new ED every week, which is awesome.
All amazing.
Just to speak more on some of the things I am enjoying about the adaptation. We didn't talk about it last episode, but of course I was super jazzed when they chose Kensuke Ushio as the composer for the show, and I think he's been killing it so far. And I know for some people watching, they are of the opinion that the show isn't like loud enough and the music isn't like blasting when it should be blasting, but I feel like a lot of people don't they don't understand the like contrast of like what Chainsaw Man does, where it's like it's not always about like, all right, let's go fight the next devil, let's ramp it up, let's keep getting crazier and crazier. I love that the adaptation has been very much soaking in the quieter moments and extending a lot of scenes that maybe were just like a panel or two in the manga, but just like letting things kind of settle, let the air just kind of drift along, like some moments that are sparse without any soundtrack, and some with like Ushio's just like patented little like microtonal noisy like background stuff. And I think having those quiet moments makes the big pop-off scenes and the times when the music really ramps up that much more impactful. And I've been really enjoying how they treated a lot of these scenes between all of the action. And that's honestly one of my favorite parts of the adaptation so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think that whole last episode was incredible. I now care about Chainsaw Man way more than I did before, and it would be impossible for me to stop watching now. Which is why I watched today's episode during my lunch break today, so that I didn't have to wait until after the podcast.
Yeah.
I keep seeing clips of the dub, and it looks really good. Like just the dub.
Yeah.
I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mentioned last time that I haven't seen any of the dub yet, but I know it's Mike McFarland, so I'm not at all surprised that it's an amazing dub. But yeah, I think I didn't read much of the manga, but clearly the adaptation is just making it this incredible filmic project where like every moment feels so cinematic, so theatrical, and it's especially last week's episode, but just in general is just directed so incredibly well. And yeah, I agree about the quiet moments. I wrote a lot about that in last week's episode too. I wrote like thousands of words about that episode. I think I probably gave it like an A or A plus. And yeah, I agree that Ushio has always been one of my favorite composers, and I think he's known for like his Yuasa stuff, which is a little zanier and like, really high tempo, high energy, like Ping Pong. I love that soundtrack. But like his work on A Silent Voice and other Yamada projects, I like even more. And it's just like so tranquil and nuanced. And yeah, those moments that he gets to use that, I definitely agree, are that much more powerful. And the direction on those like little flashbacks are just, it's just so incredible. And like the scene at Himeno's place, I feel like it's like intentionally really uncomfortable to like convey how fucked up the situation is, and like the glances from each character's perspective, they it's not just you're shooting from their face, you like get the sense of what they feel like. It's hot, and not hot like in that sense, but like it's
the temperature is
yeah,
right.
it's like steamy and like kind of gross and exciting, but you can see them like wobbling because they're intoxicated, and like it feels like you're really living through their eyes. And then you get shots like from the side that are like clearly made to mirror, we put a camera here, and it doesn't feel like typical anime staging. And then when you get your huge moments where he gets to pull out more of like the high tempo stuff, and the direction just goes off the walls, and the animation is everywhere, and it's just crazy. That contrast is really effective, and I think everything about that episode really worked for me. The sound design, the intensity of the gunshots, just in sharp contrast to the tranquility of the moment of peace that they finally achieve, and the nice little like melodic piano piece played in that little montage as they all pull out the guns. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, and just the sound design of just like them going into the tunnel in the train, and just like you quietly hear the assassins like take their guns out, and they all duck like silently. I think that's a really cool part about Chainsaw Man as well, is that the premise sets it up to be like this big, crazy like devil on devil, and we're only going to get stronger devils from here. But at the end of the day, most of the characters are still humans, and at the end of the day, a gun will kill a human, and especially in Japan, where guns are not easy to get. Like the impact and instantaneousness of someone getting shot is so wildly unexpected compared to like a demon attack. So
right, exactly.
I think it's a really cool contrast to like what you would normally expect, like him to just immediately whip out his katana mode form. He's like, no, I'm just gonna like take care of half of the squad right now.
If anime has taught me anything, it's that Japan has like 100 times more demons than guns.
Yeah. And then speaking on the Himeno scene at the beginning, they had no reason to reanimate that scene, but I think it's amazing how at the end of the previous episode, we get Denji's POV, which was, I think, basically 1-for-1 for like the manga perspective of Himeno on top of him. And then at the beginning of that next episode, we get it from Himeno's perspective, and also like a third person perspective that kind of helps repaint the picture of, like you said, like, oh, she is like definitely like drunk and not supposed to be doing this, and everyone involved knows it. But it was just like such a cool way to recontextualize and characterize them in a way that was not done in the manga, that I think really shows how deep Fujimoto's writing is, that it takes this extra context to like really show you what these characters were meant to be. And I really appreciated the second version of the scene a lot. So,
and this week's episode did that a little bit too at the beginning, where it has some of last week's scenes from different perspectives and expanded a little bit more. So just the lengths that they go to just create the richness and fullness of this world are far beyond what is normally expected from a TV anime for a Shonen Jump. manga.
Oh yeah, because there were some people that complained about last week's episode. They're like, why did they reanimate the cone scene where he like bites through the restaurant? Because in the PV there was a shot, but then like they did a whole new segment for it, and I was like, why would you complain that there's more? Like it's just like they just want to do more because they have such a passion for creating like such a special series.
Yeah, and the whole thing about guns too. I talked about that a lot in my review about how much more impactful it is because it's Japan. And yeah, like just his statement about like, what, a gun? That should be impossible for anyone who's not the police or a devil hunter. Like just that idea contrasted with American sensibilities and expectations of just like, yeah, anyone can just get a gun at any time and that's normal. Like a shooting is just a normal thing. It's not like this huge event like it is in Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what it does with commentary on gun culture, because obviously they made a very deliberate decision, or he made a very deliberate decision that, yeah, of course that happened in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still need to watch this week's episode or today's episode, so I'm definitely gonna watch that right after we end here.
We are starting to get around to that time. I know we can still talk about some other stuff like Spy Family and things like that. I don't know if maybe we want to save that for sort of end of season things, especially because I know Kestrel, you said the newest episode panders directly to me, and I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, because that's the other show that I'm watching and also still very much enjoying as well. But maybe we can save that a little bit as we are approaching. We are eclipsing our normal time actually for a little bit. So, unless anyone is feeling particularly motivated or rambunctious to talk about something, maybe we can move right into recommendations if anybody has any of them.
I have a couple, if no one wants to speak further about the season.
I'll just say that Bleach had one of the best episodes of anime. Go ahead.
Oh, geez. Wow. That's a claim.
It was pretty good.
I'm happy for you guys. Two recommendations. One we talked about earlier during our news segment. Pre-order Giovanni's Island on Blu-ray. It is $20 on Right Stuff, and it is well worth it. But the second recommendation I have, it's another pre-order, and it is for a series called Horimiya, which is probably my favorite comedy manga, and just an all-around great romance show. And it's fun, and it's adorable, and all the characters are fantastic. Those are my two.
Very cool.
I'll recommend some new anime Blu-rays. I don't know if I mentioned this one last time, but Given is out on Blu-ray now, along with the movie. That is probably my favorite BL show. Another one that deals with a music premise. Also, Olive Fruits Basket is now out. If you want the limited editions, grab that one for the final season quickly, because they go very quickly. And yeah, the first season, or first part, I guess, of Mushoku Tensei came out today. That has a limited edition as well as a standard release. And that is one of my favorite isekai series. So I will recommend all of those. Also, I mentioned that 50 Animated Years of Lupin the Third book. I definitely recommend getting that, even if it's just the standard edition. It's still a really nice, high-quality hardcover coffee table book with lots of art, production materials throughout the half a century, and just information about the whole history of the franchise. So that's really good content. And Pulp Fiction came out on 4K today, and there's a steelbook of it, which I just got, and a standard release as well. So I'm going to recommend all those. Also, I don't know if we'll get around to doing a holiday gift guide type episode. But I will mention Right Stuff's holiday sales are going on, as always, this time of year. And I don't know if like Sentai AMC is trying to like phase out the Made in Japan brand or something, but every few days there's been old Made in Japan Blu-ray on sale for normal price $90, on sale for $4. So I grabbed Deno Coil because it was $4. And then it went not only out of print, but completely delisted. The page does not even exist anymore. So there's another one of those right now, which is some show I've never heard of and doesn't have very high ratings. But if that trend continues, then keep an eye out for the mega daily deals or daily mega deals on Right Stuff, because there might be something for like a 20th of its normal price, and then it might be gone forever.
Good heads up there. Yeah, I remember seeing that Deno Coil one. I was like, Jesus Christ, $4. That's cheaper than the High School of the Dead OVA.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
I like
occasionally.
how that OVA showed up on the new porn version of Right Stuff for some reason. That's funny.
That's amazing.
Are they still trying to sell it for like $2?
Yeah.
No one's gonna buy it. They just need to learn that no one's gonna buy it. They should just recycle it or burn it for energy. I don't have much of anything anime oriented to recommend. I think something that anime fans could like, especially like visual novel fans, it's kind of adjacent, is the new game Pentiment is insanely good. And it's more of a visual novel than a game. And I've really been playing the shit out of it since it came out. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, it's on there as a part of the service. It's from Obsidian, so it has really well, produced characters, and the art style is incredible. 1500s painting / storybook style, which is very, very unique for video games in particular. So I would definitely recommend playing that, especially if you do like visual novels, because there's not a whole lot of quote unquote like gameplay. It's a lot of talking and learning and inner thinking stuff. So yeah, I would say definitely check that out.
I have not bought as much manga recently because my shelves are running out of space. But I did at a local bookstore see something that caught my eye, so I'll put some other people onto it. The manga series "A Girl from the Other Side" just recently started getting these new 3-in-1 omnibus physical editions, which are really beautiful. And if you're a fan of the series, there is, I think, an anime coming within the next year or so. I think WIT was making it. I haven't really seen anything in a while, but
we already have it.
Is it? Is that out?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the movie that was broken into 3 separate episodes, I think.
oh,
Yeah.
Because I watched it and it's fine.
all right. I'll have to check it out. But I will say these new hardcover omnibus editions are really nice because the manga is very like the use of shadowing and like black and white contrast is like very big to like the theming of the story. And in the original like small edition paperbacks, the paper quality isn't great, so like a lot of the images don't come through very well. But the high quality paper of these new editions really lend themselves to showing that contrast, and I think it's a much better version of the story to have in physical collections. So if you're at all interested in the series, I definitely recommend picking up the new 3-in-1 volumes.
Yeah, it's one I definitely want to read the manga, because I think the OVA / 3-episode series thing they did doesn't flesh it out nearly enough for it to like really make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cryptic already. So
yeah, and then the approximately 70 minutes or so they give it doesn't really do it justice. So it is a good primer if you just like the art style, because I mean I watched it and I didn't particularly enjoy it, but it inspired me to want to read it.
Yeah.
So, mission accomplished there, I guess.
Yeah. I'll have to check out the movie.
Yeah, as someone who read it, if you had read, it's probably a little bit more easily appreciated.
True.
Oh, also the Eurocamp movie is on Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, shit! I gotta do that too. All right, well, if that's everything for the recommendations, I think it's about time we sign off. Kestrel, where can we find you, and where can we find the podcast?
You can find me on Twitter, which still exists apparently, at Full Metal
For now.
Chuma. Yeah. Find us everywhere you find podcasts. Subscribe, rate, review. Phantom Post Radio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Alexa, Amazon Music, Facebook, something. We're on Facebook and Twitter for social media at Phantom Post Radio. You can follow us there and get in contact with us or whatever. You can also just email us, phantompostradio@gmail.com.
You can
DJ,
find
how about
me-
yourself? Oh, beat me to
Yeah,
it.
I'll go. Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at DJNoStyle. You can find my video game at lessonsandlovegame.com. And I have once again broken my personal records and put out the longest update I've ever made. And I also just finally reclaimed the $10,000 mark on Subscribestar after the Patreon debacle 1 year ago, which is
Yay.
rad. Yeah, it took a whole year to get back to where I was, but I'm back. So let's
Nice.
go.
DJ's
Get that-
keyboard goes brrr.
Yeah.
Get that bag. Nice.
Nice, Bran. How about you?
You can find me at Hellshake Brando on most socials, as well as YouTube and Twitch. I've got some physical reviews coming out for Phantom Post. There should be a review for Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan coming in the near future, so look forward to that. And I put out a song on Spotify recently. It's an old song I made in 2020, but it's anime relevant. It's called Hero's Journey. It's a song I made inspired by Guts theme, and it's a memorial to Kentaro Miura. So please give it a listen.
Very cool. And as always, you can find me here and here only. So once again, thank you everybody for listening.
Shit, they can see me.
Yeah, that's been the thing the whole time. All webcams have been active every episode. But thanks everyone for listening. Appreciate all the support, all the roasts, whatever. It doesn't matter. We can handle it. So thank you once again, and hope you enjoy the episode. And we will talk to you soon.
See ya.
Peace out.
Bye bye.